Dr. Eliza Noor stared at the data crawling across her screen until her eyes burned. The anomaly was still there. She'd been hoping it would disappear with more sophisticated filtering algorithms, but the signal remained stubbornly persistent. A tiny fluctuation in the sun's core density, practically undetectable, but definitely there. "Damn it," she muttered, reaching for her coffee mug only to find it empty. "Third time today." She pushed back from her desk and stretched, wincing at the series of pops from her spine. The clock on her monitor read 3:42 a.m. Another all-nighter at the Solar Dynamics Observatory. Her phone buzzed. A text from her sister, "Did you forget dinner again?" Mom cried. Eliza sighed and tossed the phone aside. Her family could wait. The sun, apparently, could not. When she'd first noticed the irregularity 2 months ago, she'd assumed it was equipment failure. Solar monitoring was delicate work, and even the best instruments could glitch. But after replacing sensors, recalibrating equipment, and running exhaustive diagnostics, the anomaly remained. Worse, it was growing. "You look like hell warmed over," came a voice from her doorway. Eliza didn't bother turning around. "Good morning to you too, Jin." Dr. Jin Takeda, her colleague and perpetual thorn in her side, strode into her office with 2 cups of fresh coffee. He placed one on her desk without asking and leaned against the wall, studying her with that irritating half-smile of his. "You've been here all night," he said. "Not a question." "Your observational skills continue to astound," Eliza replied, grabbing the coffee. She took a sip and immediately regretted her sarcasm. The man knew exactly how she liked her coffee, black with a hint of cinnamon. Jin's smile widened. "I'm assuming it's still there." She nodded, turning back to the screen. "And growing. Exponentially." The smile vanished. Jin moved beside her, leaning over her shoulder to examine the data. His cologne, subtle notes of cedar and something uniquely him, momentarily distracted her. She'd never admit it, but she'd missed this. Before everything went to hell between them, they'd made a formidable team. "That's impossible," he whispered, eyes darting across the figures. "The conditions required for singularity formation, the sun doesn't have nearly enough mass." And yet. Eliza pulled up a time-lapse simulation she'd been working on. "Watch." The animation showed the heart of the sun, rendered in false colors based on density readings. At the center, a tiny dark spot pulsed. As the simulation progressed, the spot grew, slowly at first, then with increasing speed. "How long?" Jin asked, voice tight. "At current rate of growth?" 18 months before it's detectable to conventional instruments. Maybe 6 years until catastrophic solar destabilization begins. And complete consumption? Eliza swallowed hard. 10 years. Give or take a few months. Jin straightened, running a hand through his short black hair. "We need to publish immediately." "With what evidence?" She gestured at the screen. "This data comes from experimental instruments that half the scientific community doesn't even recognize as reliable. They'll laugh us out of every journal in the field." "Since when has Eliza Noor cared about being laughed at?" Jin asked softly. She shot him a sharp look. "Since Frankfurt." The name of the conference hung between them, loaded with unspoken history. 3 years ago, Eliza had presented a controversial paper on quantum behaviors in stellar cores. Jin, then her research partner and more, had publicly questioned her methodology during the Q&A session. The academic bloodbath that followed had destroyed both their relationship and her credibility. "This is different," Jin insisted. "This is the end of the world." Eliza laughed bitterly. "That'll go over well. Disgraced physicist claims black hole inside sun will kill us all. I can already see the headlines." Jin sighed, pulling up a chair. "Then we need incontrovertible proof. Something even the most skeptical bastards can't ignore." Eliza had already considered this. The CERN neutrino detector might work. If we can get priority access. Leave that to me, Jin said. I still have some friends there. Of course you do. Eliza couldn't keep the edge from her voice. After Frankfurt, while her career had tanked, Jin's had flourished. He'd been picked up by a prestigious research institute, given unlimited funding, nominated for a Nobel. Look, Jin said, I know you hate me. I don't hate you, she interrupted. I just don't trust you. Fair enough. He nodded. But right now, trust is a luxury we can't afford. If you're right about this, then we're looking at an extinction-level event. Eliza turned back to her simulation. The dark spot at the sun's core pulsed like a malevolent heartbeat. How is this even possible? Jin asked, more to himself than to her. Black hole formation requires either enormous gravitational collapse or extreme energy concentration. Neither should be possible inside the sun. Eliza had been pondering the same question for weeks. What if it's not natural? Jin's head jerked up. You think someone created this? Or something? Eliza pulled up another set of data. Look at these energy distribution patterns. They're too regular, too precise. Almost engineered. Jin studied the screen, frowning. That's a hell of a leap, Eliza. You have a better explanation for a microscopic black hole spontaneously forming in our sun, she challenged. Because I've run through every natural scenario, and none of them work. Before Jin could respond, Eliza's computer pinged with an incoming video call. Director Chandra of the International Solar Research Initiative, their boss. Eliza quickly closed her simulations and answered. Dr. Noor, Chandra's stern face filled the screen. I see Dr. Takeda is with you. Good. I've been trying to reach you both. What's up, Director? Jin asked casually, as if they hadn't just been discussing the potential end of the world. The Americans are demanding answers, Chandra said. NASA's solar monitoring satellites have detected unusual neutrino emissions. They're asking if we've observed anything similar. Eliza and Jin exchanged looks. The anomaly was already detectable by conventional means. Which meant her timeline was wrong. They had less time than she thought. Dr. Noor. Chandra prompted. You've been running extended observations. Have you seen anything unusual? This was the moment. Eliza could feel Jin's eyes on her, waiting for her response. If she reported her findings, there would be panic, investigations, political maneuvering, precious time wasted while the threat grew. But if she kept quiet, gathered more data, found a solution first. Nothing definitive, she said finally. But I'd like to request emergency access to the CERN neutrino detector for further investigation. Chandra's eyebrows rose. That's a significant request, Doctor. The committee will want a solid justification. Tell them it's regarding potential solar instability, Jin jumped in. Dr. Noor's preliminary findings suggest a core anomaly that warrants immediate attention. Eliza shot him a grateful look. Not the whole truth, but not a lie either. I'll see what I can do, Chandra said, looking between them suspiciously. In the meantime, I want hourly updates on your observations. If there's anything to these American concerns, I want us ahead of it. After Chandra disconnected, Eliza slumped in her chair. It's happening faster than I calculated. Jin nodded grimly. We need to move quickly. I'll book us on the next flight to Geneva. Us? Eliza raised an eyebrow. You need me, Jin stated, not a hint of arrogance in his voice, just simple fact. My name still opens doors. Eliza wanted to argue, but he was right. And with the fate of humanity potentially hanging in the balance, pride was a luxury she couldn't afford. Fine, she conceded. But this is my research. My discovery. Of course, Jin agreed easily. I'm just the pretty face to get us through the door. Despite everything, Eliza found herself smiling. You're not that pretty. Jin clutched his chest in mock pain. You wound me, doctor. As they began preparations for Geneva, Eliza's phone buzzed again. Another text from her sister: Mom wants to know if you're coming to Emily's graduation next month. Eliza stared at the message, a sudden lump in her throat. Her niece's high school graduation. Such a normal, human milestone. Would there be a world left for Emily to grow up in? To attend college, fall in love, have her own family someday? Everything okay? Jin asked, noticing her expression. Eliza put the phone away. Just family stuff. Ah. Jin nodded, understanding in his eyes. He'd always been good at reading her, even when she didn't want to be read. You should call them. After Geneva, she said firmly. When we know more. 3 days later, they stood in the control room of the CERN neutrino detector, watching as their specialized detection protocols ran. Jin had indeed worked his magic, securing them priority access with minimal questions asked. The massive facility hummed around them, its sensitive equipment probing the universe's most elusive particles. If anything could confirm Eliza's fears, it was this place. Incoming data stream, announced Dr. Renata Okafor, the facility's lead technician. Your calibrations are unusual, Dr. Noor. We don't typically focus on solar neutrinos with such specific energy parameters. Trust me, Eliza said, eyes fixed on the incoming data, this is exactly what we need to see. The first readings appeared on screen, and Eliza's heart sank. The signature was unmistakable, a neutrino pattern that could only be produced by one thing: matter undergoing extreme gravitational compression. That can't be right, Dr. Okafor frowned, adjusting controls. Let me recalibrate. It's correct, Jin said quietly, standing beside Eliza. Run it again. They did. 3 more times. Each result the same. I've never seen anything like this, Dr. Okafor admitted. These readings suggest some kind of extreme gravitational event occurring within the sun's core, but that's impossible, Eliza finished. Yes, we know. After the CERN team left them alone with the data, Jin turned to Eliza. We have proof now. Irrefutable proof. Eliza nodded numbly. And no idea how to stop it. We need to go public, Jin insisted. Get every scientific mind on the planet working on this. And cause a global panic? Eliza countered. Governments would collapse overnight. There'd be riots, martial law. So what's your plan? Jin demanded. Keep it secret while we try to solve it ourselves. That's not just arrogant, Eliza, it's dangerous. We need more data, she insisted. A better understanding of how this formed in the first place. If we can figure that out, maybe we can reverse it. Jin shook his head. This isn't Frankfurt, Eliza. You don't need to prove yourself right this time. The stakes are too high. This isn't about my ego, she snapped. It's about giving humanity its best chance. By keeping them in the dark. Jin challenged. By not causing premature panic. Eliza shot back. Give me 2 weeks. Let me analyze this CERN data, refine my models. Then we'll go public with both the problem and potential solutions. Jin studied her for a long moment, then nodded slowly. 2 weeks. Then we take this to the world scientific community. With or without solutions. Agreed, Eliza said, turning back to the data. As they worked through the night, analyzing the CERN findings, a pattern emerged that chilled Eliza to her core. The black hole wasn't just growing, it was accelerating. And buried in the neutrino signature was something even more disturbing, a rhythmic fluctuation that couldn't be natural. A pattern that looked almost like a signal. Whatever was happening inside their sun, Eliza was becoming increasingly convinced of one thing: someone or something had put it there deliberately. And they were running out of time to stop it. 6 months later, the world knew the truth. The sun was dying from within. Eliza stood at the window of the International Solar Crisis Center, watching protesters clash with riot police in the streets below. Signs declaring "hoax" and "Judgment Day" bobbed above the crowd. After their announcement, half the world had panicked, the other half denied. "Humanity at its finest," Jin remarked, joining her. His face looked gaunt, aged years and months. "Can you blame them?" Eliza asked. "We're telling them the sun will collapse in less than a decade." The data had only gotten worse. The black hole now consumed solar matter at an exponential rate. More disturbing were the signal patterns embedded in the neutrino emissions, complex mathematical sequences that couldn't be natural. "Progress report in 5 minutes, Jin said. In the conference room, representatives from every major space agency and research institute gathered. Eliza's presentation was brief: 3 potential solutions, all desperate longshots. Option 1. Detonate thermonuclear devices at precise locations in the sun's outer layers to create specific pressure waves that might disrupt the singularity, she explained. "You want to nuke the sun?" asked NASA's director incredulously. Option 2, Eliza continued, ignoring him, use gravitational tractor arrays to attempt to extract the black hole. "Completely theoretical technology," someone muttered. Option 3, Eliza concluded, evacuation. "We accelerate generation ship programs. Save what we can of humanity and Earth's biosphere." Silence fell. The choice was clear: gamble everything on uncertain technology or accept extinction. Later, alone in her office, Eliza studied the signal patterns again. Jin found her there at midnight. "You should rest," he said gently. "It's a message, Jin." Eliza pointed to her screen. "Someone created this black hole, and they encoded information in its effects." "Who? Aliens? Or ourselves? Future humans? Another civilization entirely? I don't know." She rubbed her eyes. "But I've been working on decoding it, and I think it's instructions." Jin stared at her. "Instructions for what?" "How to save ourselves." 3 months later, construction began on the gravity tractor array. Not to remove the black hole, but to stabilize it, guided by the decoded instructions hidden in the neutrino patterns. "We're betting everything on a message we don't fully understand," Jin said as they watched the launch of components from the Kennedy Space Center. "What choice do we have?" Eliza replied. The theory was radical. The black hole wasn't meant to destroy the sun but transform it. If stabilized correctly, it would create a controlled collapse that would extend the sun's life by billions of years, burning more efficiently. "And if we're wrong?" Jin asked. Eliza took his hand. "Then we face it together." 1 year later, they activated the array. The sun flickered momentarily, then stabilized, burning with a slightly different spectrum. Telemetry confirmed the black hole had reached equilibrium. "We did it," Jin whispered. "No," Eliza corrected, watching the new data stream in. "Someone did it for us. We just followed instructions." She gazed at the sun through filtered windows, wondering who had sent them this gift disguised as catastrophe, and what humanity might become with their newly extended lease on cosmic life.